If you're able to identify where your lack of faith is coming from, you're waiting to get pregnant, you're waiting to get that house, this whole agenda of the more the better, oh yeah, the perfect woman. And I mean, like, the Lord gave us instructions. Hello everybody, I want to make a round of applause because we made it until the end of this year. Each year gets getting more and more interesting. The last few years has been so beautiful to look back and reflect and analyze where God has pulled us from and where is He taking us. As perfect as He is, He also created the seasons. And right now we're on winter season, and it's just like really lovely to see how everything shifts, and it just becomes more slow. It just becomes a time of analyzing, reflecting, and I think it's just a beautiful time to dig in deeper into your heart, into your prayers, into your thoughts, and really get to know what does the Lord want. I have been into a lot of prayer lately, and I wanted to share some of the things that I think we can all do together in this upcoming year. There's always like this time for New Year's resolutions and New Year goals, but I think if we're able to, like, instead of adding so many things, if we're able to focus in our core values, it goes like even much better than just randomly adding things to the list. Because there's always a to-do list, there's always a New Year list, but how many of those things do we actually do? And it's not because of the things, I mean, they might be fun, but number one, it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. Number two, by guarding your temple that the Lord created for you, then lots of the things that we add to that list actually comes naturally because we're taking care of our temple first. With that being said, and no further ado, there's 7 things that I wanted to share with you today. Number 1, I want to talk about activated faith versus lukewarm faith. And with this, I want to go back to before I met God. I used to believe in manifesting, and if you don't know what that is, then it's just using this law of attraction to attract the things that you want into your life. So I manifested a lot of things, and because I manifested out of my emotions and the lack of things I had, it was never sufficient. It was never something that I truly felt okay with or good with or fulfilled with. When I came to the Lord, I experienced faith for the first time, and I think it was like a combination of understanding what His promises are and what faith is. So it was like very shocking because it's so different from manifesting, because manifesting just goes so many ways and so tiring, honestly. But then when you learn about faith, then it just becomes like a daily surrender to the Lord and to His will. And it's just so beautiful because when you back it up with promises, then more powerful. But for me, throughout this past 40 years that it's been since I accepted God, I've been reflecting lately that my faith is not where I want it to be. And I've talked so much about having like that mustard seed of faith, but what about if we explode that? What if we go all out with that faith? And this year I got to meet Jesus, and that really changed my life forever. And in this chapter of my life, I just want to activate my faith. Like I lived on faith, but it was not like crazy faith. I want to have, and I want to live, and I want to experience this crazy faith. And I think if we all come from that lukewarm faith to that activated faith, I think our life could change forever. Because if God, like, He takes every single day of our lives and He shows us His grace, He shows us His mercy, He shows us how big He is and how incredible and wonderful He is, then how can we continue to doubt His will? How can we continue to doubt the power that He has? I want to read out Matthew 8:26, which is when Jesus calms the sea. It says, "And He said unto them, Why are you fearful of you, little faith? Then He arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm." Like, if Jesus was here right now, He tested my faith, He would say the same thing to me. And I don't want that. It's in our nature to sin. It's in our nature to doubt. It's in our nature to have anxiety over things, to worry about things. And whether it's fear, whether it's depression, whether it's like worrying way too much, overthinking, if you're able to identify where your lack of faith is coming from, then you can transform that, because He doesn't want us to live in a lukewarm faith. He doesn't want us to go around doubting His power. Like, are you serious? Hasn't He showed us enough? Hasn't He showed you in your life every single day of it enough? Like, what more else do we need? And if you're not able to identify where your lack of faith is coming from, then ask the Lord and sit in prayer, because He will show you where you are lacking it. So finish this one off, I want to read 1 Corinthians 2:5. "That your faith shall not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God." I want 2024 to be the year to activate your faith, like to really fight with your faith. Number 2, slowing down and resting. Oh my God, what are those words? What do they mean? Like, are you serious? Slowing down, girl? Do you know the things I have to do? Do you know the things that I'm fighting on right now, and you're telling me to slow down? Oh, yes, I am. Okay, hear me out. God created the earth, and on the 7th day He rested. What does this speak to us? On the contrary to what society entertains us, the more the merrier. And this is like, right now we're applying this to our agendas, because you know, they're filled always, so many things to do. Remember that our treasures are not on earth but in heaven, so we find the comfort that we need in God. And this is like even more and more important depending on what season you're in. You're waiting to get pregnant, you're waiting to get that house, you're waiting to get married, you're waiting to find that man, waiting for that money to come into your bank account, you're waiting for whatever the reason is that you're waiting. Why would you rush yourself in the process of that? Because if God takes His time, He took His time to create the world, and He could have done it in a snap of a finger, but He took His time, He took His days, because He knew that there is a time for everything. Why would you rush yourself because you want to get there quickly, because you want to have it fast, because you want to give a nice and beautiful and fast birth? I mean, why would you do that? Because if God has I want to, but it's the Lord's will. When I gave birth to my little girl, I thought it was gonna be like a fast labor, and it was actually 36 hours. I never rushed it. I had so much patience. I take that from that moment, which I thought, at the end that I was gonna die, but then I was able to learn so much from that. And why would I rush it? And instead, why don't I keep nourishing the place that I am right now? And that can be your home, that can be your relationship, that can be your projects, your job, your motherhood, or however that looks to you. Wait, hold yourself, be still, be silent, pray, and rest. Resting can be so much more than just sleeping. Sometimes resting, it literally means holding on so much to this, holding on to worship, holding on to prayer. For me, finding rest in God. It has been one of the most beautiful things that I have ever experienced, not only for my physical health, but for my spiritual, for my mental health. I feel so rested, and I know that we're gonna have a baby soon, so we're gonna wake up a lot more, but I'm gonna eat this even more. And if I'm holding on to this, then my restful soul will be in joy. Matthew 11:28-30. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So before I came into the Lord, I would sleep a lot. I also had like insomnia, and I mean it was like out of balance, everything. And when I came into the Lord, I was able to understand. So I was out of balance, but when I came into the Lord, I knew what was rest. And it took me a time to get where I am now, but I wanted to read this because he's talking about those that are lost, and I was lost, but now that I have found him, I know that I don't have to wait until my heart is heavy, until my body is dying, and until my mind is just suffering. I know that I don't have to wait for that, because God is with me. Instead, I can learn how to, even when it's just getting frustrated, even when I'm getting tired from waiting, I know that I can rely on him, and through him is only that I find that rest. So I want to leave you with a question, and this is, are you doing the things that you are doing with a restful heart? And that can be things in your home, things in your church, things in your house, things in your projects, things in your relationships, just daily chores, simple chores, literally whatever you put your hands and your mind into. Like, are you doing that with a restful heart? Are you doing that with the calmness of God? Are you doing that with the joy of the Spirit? It's a simple question. It's a yes or no. If it's a yes, then that's beautiful. Keep resting in him. But if it's a no, how can we put that into the hands of the Lord? Because we don't have to do it. We just surrender that to him. Number 3, it is decluttering and detox. It is decluttering your mind, your soul, and your home. Because your home is a representation of what your mind is carrying, and your mind is a representation of what your heart is doing. So the soul. And as I mentioned before, this whole agenda of the more the better, the more things you have, the expensive things you have, the better things you have, the more. Also, the more leads to a clutter of thoughts, anxiety, and trash. You can have so much trash in your home and not even know it. How you store things on your home, you store things in your heart. So you can have so much trash in your heart. Trash in your home, trash in your phone, in your wardrobe. You can literally name what types of burden, what type of trash you're carrying yourself with. I made a whole video about this, and I'm gonna link it down below. It's a full, I was decluttering my home, but I think I got so deep into what your heart and what your mind are carrying, and I think it's so important, because if you want to take out that trash from your life, then you have to really dig in deeper. Bible verse that I want to read is Ecclesiastes 3:6. A time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. If you go even deeper, like let's go even deeper into this. What habits you need to let go of? I mean, honestly, get real. What habits do you need to let go of and leave it in 2023? What in your life is no longer glorifying God? Ouch. What is no longer sanctifying your heart? Because there's a lot of things that we do, there's a lot of things that we see, there's a lot of things that we take, there's a lot of things that we hear, and we just keep doing them, and we don't realize that they're not sanctifying our hearts. Okay, thank you so much. So we're gonna do number 4 now, and this is finding contentment right where you are. Absolutely everybody in this world, doesn't matter culture, doesn't matter religion, it doesn't matter where you're from, we are all looking for happiness. And everybody looks for happiness in their own ways, depending on what was taught to them and what they received during that childhood. So the perception of happiness is something very interesting, and so is the perception of truth. With this being said, actually how many people find happiness? Like, how many people wake up and say, I'm so happy today, and I mean, their car just broke down, or their house got on fire, or they lost a family member, and how many people can actually rise up and say, I'm happy today, I find contentment right in this situation? This is not to not validate your emotions. I'm not saying that. Life will never be perfect, and God doesn't call us to live a perfect life, but rather to understand that the perfection we find in Him takes us to live in plentiful freedom. I'm gonna repeat that again. Life will never be perfect, and God doesn't call us to live a perfect life, but rather to understand that the perfection we find in Him takes us to live in plentiful freedom. So in moments of chaos, find contentment. In moments of anxiety, find contentment. In moments of doubt, find contentment. In moments of sadness, find contentment. In moments of hurting, find contentment. In moments of, and you feel it in the blank, you feel it in, just find Him. Honestly, your laundry just broke, find Him. Your TV just broke, find Him. Your car just broke, find Him. The other car broke off, find Him. You're having a problem with your husband, find Him. You're having a problem with your children, find Him. You're having a problem with your bank account, find Him. And I want to read 2 Corinthians 12, 9 to 10. And He said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. I mean, my strength is made perfect in weakness. Oh my God, He loves our weaknesses. He loves when we're able to acknowledge that we are weak in flesh, but He makes us strong in spirit. Habakkuk 3, 17 to 19. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the fields shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord, and I will joy in the God of my salvation. Your house was taken down, your relationship broke off, all of your savings are gone, there is no food in the fridge. The olive tree is one of the most powerful trees that there is, and it says that it shall fail, like it's gonna fail. The fig tree shall not blossom, it's not gonna have any figs, and there will be no fruit in the vines. The vines are one of the plants that are most strong, and they carry so many things between fruits and flowers, and it says that it's not going to have any fruit. But the field shall yield no meat, and the flock shall be cut off from the fold. There's nothing left that you can cling your body onto. There's nothing left in that sense of security. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord, and I will joy in the God of my salvation. It's that word, rejoice, and I will joy in God of my salvation. So even in loss and suffering, we can trust God. Number 5, it is to love yourself as how God loves you. Although we can never understand the love of God, I can see a glimpse of it, of how much I love my kid, how much love I felt when I birthed her. This is not about this self-love agenda. I'm not talking about that self-love that it sticks on the surface and you do so many things to try to receive a sense of self-love and self-appreciation, but it only stays on the outside. I'm not talking about that. This isn't about painting your nails. This is not about doing your hair. This is not about putting on makeup to go somewhere or to stay in your house. No. Whatever the definition of beauty in today's world is, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Psalm 139. If you want an affirmation, a word affirmation of the day, it is, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. If we can try to understand His love through the people that we love the most in our life, and trying to relate that to His love, because it's much greater and we will never understand that, then we can try to look at ourselves as how He fearfully and wonderfully made us. This is something really interesting, and is that the word fearfully, which is bad in Hebrew, it means to approach someone with great reverence, heartfelt interest, and deep respect. If you are able to approach yourself with great reverence and heartfelt interest, like right here in your heart, like you are so excited to meet yourself, to know yourself, to work for yourself, to get to know yourself and things like that, and with deep respect that you deserve, your life can change forever, because then you start seeing yourself, you start understanding the temple that He created you in, and you're just not like, oh, like I have one eye bigger than the other, I have frizzy hair, I have straight hair, I have a thicker body, I have a thinner body, I don't have things here, I don't have things down there, I don't have blah blah blah. Like, it's not even about that anymore. You start seeing yourself as a wonderful creature that you are, and because you look at yourself with deep respect, the other things come with it. So the things that you have to do to guard your temple, they will come naturally because you see yourself with deep reverence and respect. How will you exercise Psalm 139 this year in your life? Okay, so last one but not least, Proverbs 31. So I'm not gonna even like talk about a thing. I'm just gonna read it. And it says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart, she girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. She perceived that her merchandise is good, her candle goeth not out by night. She laid her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretched out her hand to the poor, yea, she reached forth her hands to the needy. She's not afraid of the snow, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth, and delivereth girlies unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, and her husband also. And he praised her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but though excellent them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own work praise her in the gates. I would really like you to sit down in prayer and read this over and over again, because it is like so beautiful. And I think like lots of women read this and they're like, oh yeah, the perfect woman. And I mean, like, yeah, the Lord gave us instructions and we shall do them. It's not about being the perfect woman, it's about being in the Word of God. And this one is so interesting because it takes from goodness, from holiness to evil. Like it differentiates what a good woman is. And also it talks about finance, like when she's able to consider a field and buy it because she is careful with her finances, because she's careful with the things that she has, so she can invest in more things. Like, we're talking about a powerful woman, we're talking about an intelligent woman, we're talking about a woman that creates with her hands, we're talking about a woman that understands that when the cold comes, her whole family is covered. When the enemy comes and wants to attack you, her whole family is covered because she made that happen. The tongue is a law of kindness. Her tongue is the one that speaks life over death. And I think this is something that you can read and you can find so many things in whatever stage of your life you're in. And if this month you're experiencing one thing, next month you're gonna experience another, and this will always be alive and keeping truthful for you. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. I wanted to really get to share what will be coming into this year and that I will be doing. And I want to transform my life, and I want to walk into next year with that activated faith and with all of these things that are just gonna keep helping me to get close to the Lord. To end this video, I would really love to know, what things are you bringing for this next year? And what things are you leaving behind this year? Those habits that we talked about, those things that, I don't know, like they're itty-gritty. Like, what do you want to share? It would be so nice to get into prayer together as women and get into the Word of God together. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the new year.